Welcome back to Review and Brew. This year is still new, so we're starting it off with the worst movie ever created.
Say what?
Cabin Boy is photographic proof that God has forsaken humanity. Cabin Boy is the epic tale of a super awfully irritating privileged know-it-all who gives up life as a fancy lad to live an adventuresome, unpredictable, and pungent life as a super awfully irritating fisherman. We know he's a fancy lad because the film uses the word 1,000 goddamn times in the first 30 seconds.
Fancy lad, fancy lad, fancy lad,
Fancy lad.
I honestly forgot his name, so we'll just call him Fancy Lad. Now, Fancy Lad has just graduated fancy school, and after insulting a taxi driver, has to walk to the nearest port to board his waiting fancy ship. He ends up boarding the wrong ship with 4 grotesque old men and one well-meaning idiot who somehow comes off as smarter than Fancy Lad. This guy is literally the only likable character until Fancy Lad sets sail for Hawaii and ends up drowning the kid, actually killing him. No extra lives, dead. They then sail around the terrifying region colloquially known as Hell's Bucket. Now this is a wacky place, let me tell you. Spuds, take it over.
Ah yes, everyone knows the strange things that happen in Hell's Bucket. You've got clouds with faces, iceberg monsters that have a poking fetish, figureheads growing beards, Viking shark mermen, and globes circumnavigating competitive steel mill swimmers. To show their contempt for Fancy Lad and his moronic navigation skills, the crew strands him on a dinghy for a week. This would kill most seamen, but Fancy Lad is not deterred. The sea makes him delirious, dreaming of dead sailors in tuxedos and flying tobacco-spitting cupcakes. The harrowing experience converts Fancy Lad into a dedicated cabin boy, where he graciously licks decks and makes fish stick sculptures for dinner. After netting a swimmer attempting to swim from Maryland back to Maryland somehow, Fancy Lad falls in love with the busty firecracker of a nautical athlete who wants none of him. Eventually, the crew find themselves at the island in the middle of Hell's Bucket, which they earlier said they wanted nothing to do with. Isn't that what they said, Kay?
Basically, Spuds. But eventually they find themselves on the unnamed island, and Fancy Lad wants to prove his love to the swimmer lady. So he climbs a mountain made of cheap foam and plastic plants, then bangs a 6-armed Indian deity, and then strangles her husband when he politely inquires as to why the sailor is ruining his marriage. After seeing his pre-dating infidelity, Swimmer Lady falls deeply in love with the newly minted cabin man, because that is how you get the ladies. Then they all go to Hawaii. Bing, bang, boom, movie ends.
Also, David Letterman would like to sell you a monkey.
Would you like to buy a monkey?
Can't we do something?
Yeah, look the other way. This is gonna be gruesome.